Welcome back to the show. I don't think I've ever been more excited than I am right now on this program. It's because we're in a chiropractic office, and we've talked so many times about how important it is after you have an accident. Look, you see these billboards, I got all this money or whatever, but at the end of the day, when you have an accident, the most important thing for you is for you to get healthy, all right? Trust me, these big numbers you see on billboards, these people are going through very difficult times, life-changing times for them, and it's most important that you focus on getting better. And then we can talk about the money. Very happy to be joined, as always, by our good buddy Michael Mills. Great party the other night, by the way. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
You got it. And for the first time on the show, Dr. Michael St. Louis is here, Atlas Injury to Health Chiropractic. How are you, Doc? Good to see you. And we're here in a chiropractic room. And I think what I've always respected about Michael, number one, is, first of all, he's cool and a great lawyer. We know that. But the creation of this Injury Assistance Network, which was really designed, Michael, to have the people of Central Florida and Florida in general, when they've had an accident, to, okay, yes, let's try to maximize the case. That's what we try to do as lawyers, of course, but get better. Talk to me about why you created this Injury Assistance Network.
Okay, well, I created the Injury Assistance Network primarily as an attorney. There would be situations that would occur where I get clients that are outside my core area of practice, and trying to find quality providers that I know is going to take care of my client, make sure they get the treatment that they need to get better, make sure they get referred out for the imaging that they need, or get referred out to the specialist that they need, all so that they can get better, but at the same time add that value to their case, because as their attorney, that's part of my responsibility to them as well.
It is. And getting better, obviously, is the most important part. But again, if someone's been injured, they deserve to be compensated for that injury as well. And you hire the wrong lawyer, maybe a lawyer who's just too busy, doesn't know what they're doing. I mean, we're talking about a case that might be worth $100,000 in your office. You go to a different lawyer, it might be only worth $20,000 because they don't know how to work up that case. The lawyer does matter.
Yes. The lawyer matters and the doctors matters, because what it starts with is that medical care, and being able to document the injuries, the specific injuries that our clients have, because when it comes down to it, those are the records that we use to substantiate whatever demand that we're going to make. So it doesn't matter how bad the client or the patient is injured. If we can't show that, if we can't prove their injury and show that they've actually gone through the treatment and the therapy that's needed to recover, and that the recovery is, they're recovered, but they're not as good as they used to be prior to this accident, then it's all for naught.
And Doc, first of all, again, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. I think it's important. We're here in your room here. What is this room called? I'm sorry, I don't even know.
This is my adjusting room.
The adjusting room. And you've had a lot of people who have been in this room who have really had their lives turned upside down after an accident. And sometimes lawyers get referred to as ambulance chasers, we're just after the money or whatever. These people that you see, the people that are right here in this very room, Doc, you see their lives change dramatically. This is not a fun experience for them.
Not at all. I see them, they come to me at their worst, and when they leave, they're a lot better. And in any car accident, there's always injuries that I've seen when they get to me. They don't get to me unless they are injured. Everyone thinks, well, it's just a car accident, nothing can happen. And it can only take 4 miles an hour to injure a disc. So we see a lot of that. We, after examining them, we'll send them out for MRI, and we see disc injury, whether it be bulge or herniation, and then we need to know how to direct them with their care through the process to get them better, to get them hopefully to where they were prior to getting into the injury.
And when you see people here, and I see it all the time, where someone has an automobile accident, and they're like, oh, look, I'm not a sue-happy guy, I'm not going to do anything. In fact, I'm not really hurting the day of the accident. The next day, they're like, I feel a little something, but I'm fine. 2, 3, 4 days later, their back is on fire. Why is there this delay sometimes after an accident before I start feeling pain?
So there's an inflammatory process that can happen, and most of our body is fluid, So as we go through that process, it can tighten down. And I always tell people our muscles are like big rubber bands, and then when we're injured, they clamp down and tighten down, and we don't move as good because the body's going through this inflammatory state trying to protect itself. And sometimes it just takes time for everything to show up that was injured, because some things are immediately injured, they notice right away. Some things it just takes time through movement and daily activities and those movements and daily activities where that injury shows its head. And I've seen it where it can take even a couple weeks or longer, even up to 30 days for everything really to boil to the top.
Yeah, exactly. And then once they do get in here, so obviously if someone has a very major car accident, a lot of times they're going to get in the ambulance, go to the hospital, we get that. Sometimes you're able to drive your car away, or other times you're like, I don't want to take that ambulance ride because first of all, I don't know what's going to cost me, or you just don't want to, you think you're okay. But then a couple of days later, they are hurting. And it seems to me that the best place to go when you start feeling that pain is the chiropractic office for chiropractic care. Why is that?
Well, when we get injured and when we're in a car accident, obviously, hopefully you're wearing your seatbelt. And when we get that injury, we go through a flexion and extension injury. And that happens in the lower spine, mid spine, and upper spine, and the cervical spine, where people get the whiplash with their head. So your spine is injured through that process, and as that happens, it's going to cause injury possibly to the disc. It's going to hurt the muscles that surround the spine, but it also is going to affect the nerves that come out of your central, out of the cord that go out of the central canal there.
When I think about trial attorney and I think about doctor in this market, I don't think there are major car accident. A lot of times they're going to get in the ambulance, go to the hospital, we get that. Sometimes you're able to drive your car away, or other times you're like, I don't want to take that ambulance ride because first of all, I don't know what's going to cost me, or you just don't want to, you think you're okay. But then a couple of days later, they are hurting. And it seems to me that the best place to go when you start feeling that pain is the chiropractic office for chiropractic care. Why is that?
Well, when we get injured and when we're in a car accident, obviously, hopefully you're wearing your seatbelt. And when we get that injury, we go through a flexion and extension injury. And that happens in the lower spine, mid spine, and upper spine, and the cervical spine, where people get the whiplash with their head. So your spine is injured through that process. And as that happens, it's going to cause injury possibly to the disc. It's going to hurt the muscles that surround the spine, but it also is going to affect the nerves that come out of your central, out of the cord that go out of the central canal there.
When I think about trial attorney and I think about doctor in this market, I don't think there are many attorneys and doctors sitting in the same room right now doing this. Michael, how important is that connection between lawyer and doctor, lawyer and physician, where you can literally pick up the phone and say, hey, what's going on with my client? Or hey, this is what I think's going on. That connection is pretty important, which I think really helps that accident victim, our client at the end of the day, having that close relationship with your medical providers.
That relationship is super, super important. It's important to be able to reach the doctor and see, what's going on with the client, see, how much longer, or if there's anything that we need to be aware of with the client's treatment, so that we can also make the insurance company aware. Say, for instance, the client is looking like, based on their injuries, based on the MRI reports or findings, it's a potential that the client may need surgery. That's something that we need to know, so that we can also put the insurance company on notice, so that they can pretty much reserve the proper amount to get the case properly resolved. And if we don't have that type of relationship with the doctors, with the chiro that's going to actually send them out for the MRI and then refer them out to an ortho or neuro or whatever the case may be, and we don't have that relationship with the providers, we don't know that. So it might get to the point where everything has been done, and if you don't have the relationship with the doctor, you don't know until you actually get the records. So you're not able to properly get that case set up with the adjuster, because we're speaking with the adjusters as the client is treating. They're calling for updates. They want to know, hey, what's going on? And if we're like, I don't know, that doesn't look good for us. They don't take the proper steps that they need to do so that they can get the proper amounts reserved. And it just delays the case, delays the resolution of the case.
Yeah, I love what you're doing with your connections with the physicians in Central Florida. I think it helps your clients. I see it every day. It's amazing. And Doc, I think the chiropractic care, that the chiropractor involved in the case is maybe an underrated part of it, because in some schools of thought, maybe it's the most important part. You probably spend more time with the patient, his client, than even he does. Certainly than the surgeon that you refer out. In a lot of ways, the chiropractor is the quarterback of the case. Why is that?
When they come into us, we assess them. Obviously, we want to see how they're doing with the musculoskeletal system. And then we're going to take in-house x-rays here if they haven't already been done at the facility wherever there might be an injury. But then we're also going to look at different orthopedic exams to see if there has been disc injury, and we want to rule it out with any MRI. So we send out to those facilities, and then they come back with the results. And if there are findings, we'll get them to the specialist, who's the neurosurgeon or orthopedic surgeon, say it's an extremity or shoulder, where they can get that specific care. But we're trained as experts in the musculoskeletal system, and that's what we can do as the first point of entry to do that and help them through the process. But also they're going to come to us, and we'll do therapeutic treatment with them and the chiropractic care to help them rehab their injuries. So they're going to be on a more frequent schedule with us in the beginning, and they're going to see us quite a bit, and they get to know us quite a bit. And they may see the provider or the specialist maybe once every month or every 6 weeks, depending upon the severity of the injury. But as they go through the treatment process and rehabbing the injuries, they see us quite a bit. So that's why we take kind of the lead in the situation, as you say, quarterback it, so we can get them to the MRI facility if needed, and to the ortho or the neuro if needed. But they'll continue to see us through that process. So we get to know them very well and on a personal level, so that that's why it's important to have that relationship with the chiropractor and the attorneys, so that they feel comfortable sending their clients that have become our patients to take care of them, so that we can guide them through the process.
Bedside manner in medicine, bedside manner in law are very important parts of any case, no matter if it's personal injury or whatever it is. I think that people are going through a tough time. Anytime anyone's going through a tough time, how you treat them is something they're always going to remember. Michael Mills, as always, what a pleasure to see you, buddy. For the first time, Dr. Michael St. Louis. I'm sorry. I keep wanting to say Louis like an idiot, but I know it's St. Louis. I know. I don't speak any French at all. Keep up the great work, Doc. Great to see you. And do yourself a favor. By all means, if you've been injured in an accident, maybe you've even already hired a lawyer, they're not calling you back. Maybe you're going to a chiropractor and you don't feel like they're doing the right thing for you. Call right now. Literally, these two are standing by after the program. 321-282-1055. Quick break. Behind the Law continues.